So Blizzard just dropped an insane curveball that no one saw coming, and that is that we're literally allying Xal'atath in the new patch. No, this is not speculation, maybe, could be, there is a ton of actual data mined dialogue from the new patch. There are abilities where she actually helps us defeat the final boss of this expansion, and that is Dimensius the All Devouring. The ethereals that stole the Dark Heart are actually his servants, and she really doesn't want him to come back. This implies that she, just like the old gods, also rebelled, but the question that arises now is what is going to happen in Midnight? We're getting a void invasion, but Dimensius is gone, Xal'atath is a temporary ally, so who is coming after us, and what is Xal'atath's actual plan? While having the best deals on the market for all games and software, Gamivo just added mobile top-ups for your favorite mobile games with the best prices that you can get with my Gamivo link in the description below. Best of all, if you use my code DORON, your discount will be even bigger, so make sure to use my link in the description and the code and check out Gamivo. If you followed my channel for a while, you can see quite a lot of things I predicted actually happened in this new patch, in this expansion, from Karesh to Void Demon Hunters, Ethereals, even Dimensius the All Devouring. However, I gotta say, what we just learned from the 11.2 PTR is something I definitely didn't see coming, and honestly, it wasn't even on my mind. I totally was not thinking this could happen. So we got two shock attacks going on at the same time. Dimensius is not a long-term villain that we thought, or some giant villain like Sergeras. There was multiple expansions around, and he's not coming in Midnight, but instead he is in fact the final boss of 11.2 in the War Within, and we are facing him off already, which honestly I didn't even think about. I was thinking Midnight would be all about summoning Dimensius, there would be some giant cosmological being. However, what we did kind of expect is how large he actually is. The actual scale is insane, and he's larger than Stormwind itself, which kind of makes sense because he is this actual cosmological figure. However, this other reveal, in my opinion, is much crazier, and I 100% didn't see this coming, and that is that not only is Xal'atath working against Dimensius and might be his target, but she is actually joining us. So we're literally allying with Xal'atath in 11.2, which is absolutely ridiculous. Now, all of this is from the new text from 11.2, so this is not speculation or my view on things or maybe some little leak. There is literal dialogue, a ton of dialogue between Xal'atath, the Locust Walker, and Illyria. Now, with the start of this expansion, we did get a lot of new Xal'atath and Dimensius lore. We've learned that the ethereals know her, that she's something much more ancient than the old gods, and we got new dialogue in Xal'atath where we learned she was gifted this powerful artifact by Dimensius himself, and she was something of his weapon, the one doing his bidding. Then, in the most recent patch, we got the war between her and the old gods, N'Zoth and all the old gods united, where we've learned that the old gods had indeed rebelled, turned against the warlords, and seeing that she attacked them, it made sense that she was loyal to her master. Previously, I was almost certain that Xal'atath was the one doing his bidding, but looks like she actually, just like the old gods, turned to the other side, and I was completely blinded to this as she literally told us that in the cinematic of this expansion. She told us, and now you can learn the true lesson of the Void. Only the strongest survive. So this new information pretty much happens right at the start of 11.2. We are going to Karesh, and those crazy Shadow Guard materials from the previous patch seem to be the ones that are actually summoning Dimensius, who apparently was shattered to pieces, and now he is coming back in full strength. Pretty much to everyone's surprise, Xal'atath comes in, and apparently she doesn't want for this to happen. A shadow portal opens, she arrives, and we have the Locust Walker and Illyria. Xal'atath says that we have tried to kill each other in the past, but now we must focus on the Void Lord that will devour all of us once he returns, and Locust Walker agrees, saying that we need to work together. Then Xal'atath says that he was smashed into as many shards as Karesh, but the Shadow God have pieced him together. Illyria, of course, hates this idea and asks the Locust Walker why he is protecting her, and Xal'atath says that if we kill her, Azeroth will be destroyed, as if she was a Void Lord, Azeroth would be her next stop. Locust Walker says that we need her expertise, and Illyria has to trust him on this. Then after this, Xal'atath is actively helping us fight her former master. She uses her powers to convince the remaining uncorrupted ethereals in Karesh to work with us to commune with the planet's faded world soul, which is also new lore. Furthermore, Furthermore, there is an ability where she actually helps us in the fight against him by granting us skywriting so that we can cross the distance between the flight platforms. I gotta say, personally, this is a giant curveball, and if you're fighting Dimensius now, literally what even is the big upcoming Void plan, and why are we even getting invaded at midnight? Even better question is, what exactly is up with Xal'atath and what was she up to? Most of us speculated that the entire ordeal she was doing with the artifact and all was in order to summon Dimensius, who would come for Azeroth, but instead, she actually wants to destroy him. This kinda reveals a few different things. So, a little bit unrelated, but the new lore confirms the speculations we previously had, and that is that Karesh does indeed have World Soul, as it says, a fading one, and I'm expecting new lore to happen with that. However, all of this really does imply that Xal'atath has indeed rebelled, just like the old gods. As she said, it is with the Void, the strongest survive. The rebellion of the old gods was evident for a few years now. In previously, they were sent as tools to corrupt Azeroth, but then they formed their own empire, started doing their own thing. So really, they kind of became their own, very own Void faction. The most recent lore was that Xal'atath was the sword of the true masters, and she wanted to get them back into the fold to serve the Void Lords again. But looks like she's exactly like the old gods, yet another faction that is fighting them and the Void Lords, and she might be trying to become a Void Lord herself. This actually makes perfect sense with the flashback we got to the battle that she had with N'Zoth and Xal'atath. It was sort of implied that she might have joined them in the rebellion, but then ended up betraying them, and then they just started doing their own thing. So it kind of implies that she was working on her own agenda the entire time, and that she was quite opportunistic, even more opportunistic than the old gods. Seeing that back in Legion she was praising her masters, the Void Lords, and how crazy powerful they are, she is probably scared that if they do manifest themselves, there is nothing she can do because she knows the true power of the Void. The thing is though, how is this alliance we currently have with her actually going to work out? It is implied from the PTR that she helps us defeat Dimensius, but how exactly is it going to go from there? Chris Metzen last year told us that Xal'atath is here to stay for the World Soul saga. She will probably stay for most of the saga, which is now evident as she obviously isn't the final boss. But what really is her plan? Is she trying to consume Azeroth? Is she trying to become a Void Lord herself? Furthermore, Midnight just got a brand new updated logo, the updated one which obviously shows a Void portal, and if Dimensius is gone by then literally who is even invading us in Midnight? What is going on? We did learn through this expansion that multiple Void Lords do exist, they may work against each other, so really at the moment we kind of have two plausible options going on. Xal'atath could be now working for another one, like Invalidus that we recently learned about, that may be after a planet, but honestly with this new lore, I think Xal'atath has ambitions of overcoming everyone. I think she's fully aware of just how potent and powerful Azeroth's World Soul is, and she almost has it in her own hands, and through Azeroth's power she can become even more powerful than the Void Lords themselves. She could take on the form that could be the true goal. Dimensius, her former master, probably learned of this, and he realized she would be stronger than him, so he sent his Shadow Guard ethereals to sabotage her plan, but then we seemingly helped her, and then this made the situation even worse. Of course, at the moment it is way too early to say anything for certain as Karesh was just announced, but finally we're actually getting some answers. Also, the newest official Blizzard post confirmed that Midnight is getting announced in August, so less than 2 months from the release of this video. They already updated the logo itself, so really none of this is going to remain speculation for long. We are going to get actual answers soon, and it is going to be absolutely crazy. All of this is also a great sign because it isn't as predictable as we had previously thought, and it looks like there really is a conspiracy going on that no one knows about. Thank you for watching. Check out what does Ridicon have in mind once the Titans come back to Northrend, and also check out my second channel for real world history. See you next time.